Hey, welcome to the Tim and Gugabe podcast. This is your host, Tim. Gugabe, your mic actually sounds all right. We were just talking a little bit ago. That's a very rare change for this show.
God bless.
um, so we got UFC. Well, I mean, we'll get in the card in a second, but it's in Australia. This is in Australia, right? The 312 card.
Yeah, it's Sydney, I
Yeah, that's
think.
what I thought. Sorry, I was like blanking. There's a lot of UFCs coming up. Been taping a lot of fights. I'm like misremembering, but how have you been doing in the last couple cards? We didn't do a pod for the Imavov Adesanya card, but I think we had a break too. I had like Said Nurmagomedov at like minus 150, and then his line like blew out after that, and then he just gassed in 6 minutes, so that wasn't fun.
Yep.
I wanted to play Zion. I like liked him, and then the line had like kind of gone in, and I like I passed on that. So a little frustrating. But what about you?
What do I have? I had Rosenstoik was the biggest bet. Oh well, happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
did okay apart from that. It's kind of a weird card. I feel like Middle Eastern cards just always have this thing where just stupid shit happens. It's like, yeah, I personally like watching that card. I probably say, yeah, Page was probably the best bet of the card by far. But even that was like, if Shara had like participated somewhat, like when he actually started going forward, it was just like he probably could have salvaged
See,
a split decision.
yeah, like I
Uh,
think Page was aside, and I literally like I said that I thought it was dog or pass, but I thought like, and
he's 38. He doesn't do much, and it's just
yeah,
like,
and that's the problem. He plays with thin margins because like I didn't
yeah,
think he was gonna like knock. And the thing is, like I know it's a totally different sport, like bare knuckle boxing, but he kind of started gassing when Perry pressured him, and I was like, okay, well, like even though it's a different sport, if someone pressures him and doesn't give him any respect, I think that could happen. And I thought like usually Shara pushes the pace, and he just kind of waited too late. I feel like if he would have done that in round one and maybe eaten some shots and lost that round, I think he could have maybe had more success later. I'm not saying Shara's like I think Page was clearly the play. I said it before, but I do feel like Shara like fought. He didn't like give himself the best chance to win.
yeah, because like even like with the fight we got, it was like, you know what, Page only outlanded them by like 5 strikes, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, round one was super close. Page probably took it in literally the last 15 seconds. Round two was clear Page, and round three it was like Shah just kind of actually started pushing forward and kind of like just made him
Yeah.
work, kind of a thing. So yeah, I think yeah, Page is weird because like yeah, I had a little bit just because picky live because I was like, oh, Page was like evens during round two, and it was just like, why is Page evens? He's kind of cruising,
Yeah.
but like it's just hard to play a 38-year-old pre-fight who's just not going to grapple, is never going to outland anybody like meaningfully.
Yeah.
Like yeah, short of knocking Shara out, like he kind of had his best day, and it was still probably like a 29-28, which had like one very close round of it.
Yeah.
What else was I thinking?
I got on Jasmine live when like in
Yeah,
round one at minus 190, so like a better than her pre-fight. Like I was thinking about playing her all week, and then the line got
yeah,
to like minus 250, and I was like, I'm pretty sure she's gonna murder her, but we don't know for sure she can stop the subs. But I was like, I thought she would, but it's like minus 250. I don't want to like guess and play that, but like I got like minus 190, like a better
yeah.
price, and it was like I basically got to see her like fight hands on a guillotine, pass the guard, get into crucifix. Like she was like, I was like, all the early danger is
Yeah.
gone, and she got into crucifix. But like literally 30 seconds later, she was like minus like 300 and started blowing out. So that worked out for me. I
I feel
wanted
like
to play her
Jasmine's
all week,
striking
but
has improved a lot. Like, I, honestly, like she was actually like obviously MBS kind of sucks, but like
yeah.
Jasmine's striking actually impressed me a fair bit there.
Well, she's showed that before in other fights. Like if you remember the Maverick fight, like she'll just walk forward with like extreme physicality, cardio, and toughness. Like it's not like technical, but she's really, really tough and can kind of just eat shots and come forward. And that's kind of what she was doing because she actually outlanded Silva
Yeah,
at distance, if you look at the numbers too. And she had some success. I do think Silva landed like bigger shots, but Jasmine landed too.
in like round one, I think at the time of the guillotine it was like 21-9 in Jasmine's favor standing, and like obviously MBS could have just taken a head off or something. Like yeah, it
Yeah.
does happen, but like yeah, she was actually like yeah, she was doubling MBS up on strikes at the time of the guillotine.
Jasmine in
What?
a 5 rounder is going to be tough to deal with. Like
I'm
I
hoping
think
she gets Grosso or Rose. I feel like those are the two ones where it's like they've got enough name value. You might get like decent dog Jasu, and then they're just two women who will just melt under what Jasmine does.
yeah, I think Barber could be an interesting one too. Barber could kill her because Jasmine
Yeah,
takes too many shots, but that would be an awesome fight because like they can absolutely annihilate each other like in their respective areas, you know. Jasmine's top game is like really, really good. Um,
yeah,
it doesn't even look like it should be WMMA. Like she actually knows how to like turn guard submissions
yeah,
into passes. Like she, I don't know, when people get in like front headlock positions, she can just like tear them up with like
yeah,
threatening with like front chokes, get to back takes, and yeah, like she's and her ground and pounds legit. Like she's her cardio is great too. She's a tough one to deal with, you know.
yeah. I had Lucas Alexander at plus 160 from like a week out, which was annoying. Like, Alexander was like minus 500 after the first round, then just collapses. But
So I'm glad I missed that because I taped it and I was basically like 50-50 on the fight. And
yeah,
if it was like plus 150 Alexander, I probably would have played him. So I'm kind of glad I was late because I think that was weird because he he was owning and then
yeah,
he kind of got like punched on like a caught kick and just like kind of ended up on mount and just collapsed from there. Like that fight can go either way in my opinion, you know. I
yeah,
was too worried about Alexander at even though because I was just like he's kind of a fish off his back and like Grod will just go
push
after
it.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think even was about right there in that fight.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like, even like started round two, it wasn't like he gassed or anything. He just like the second he got put on his back, he just
Yeah.
mentally broke.
Yeah.
Probably like I think what was probably the worst beat of the day. I thought Thomas Peterson was kind of like really building well and then just died. Like
Yeah,
Thomas
that was
Peterson
really
actually
competitive
impressed me
until
a
that
ton.
point. Yeah.
Like, you remake Peterson Gaziev tomorrow, I like put like 3 units on Peterson to be honest. Because like it was like perfect. It was like 50-50 striking during Gaziev's like round,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think Peterson
Yeah,
was
I
decent. Like,
wasn't like Peterson's getting owned here. I mean, I had no
it was
interest
like
in the
fifteen
fight.
fifteen at the time knockout. Yeah, the time of the knockout
Yeah.
was legit like 15-15 standing. Like, yeah, Gaziev hits a bit harder, but
Yeah.
if anybody is going evens with Gaziev in round one, like they definitionally they're
Yeah.
like evens at worst. Um, what did you think about Ziam Davis? That fight was just like
I,
I didn't really. I had the ITD as my main thing, and I was kind of pissed off because like round two was obviously like 8 finishes. Um, that
I
just
wanted to play
blew my
Ziam
mind.
all week, and I'm mad it was like
But
because he was at plus
why?
110, and I could have got him at plus 160. It was like I was
Yeah, but
upset for
I
missing the line, but you know,
I just don't see how you watch that and think, oh, I missed out on Ziam because it's just like Davis, if he doesn't rock up as like a complete shell of himself, is minus 500. It's just like
the
Ziam
so I
has one of the
kind
stupidest UFC careers. It's just like it's just Ziam's just one of these guys who just happens like he just he gets it just makes no. He's just like Ziam is not good. He just has this ability to just manifest the worst possible performance. Because like if Davis hadn't come out like Davis who looked horrible came out pulling guard and still ended up with dominant position every round.
it's weird because like my basis of the play was like I kind of thought Ziam could nullify the grappling enough, and I think he's more technical striker, and you saw some of that, you know. And then I also thought he had like a little bit of
Yeah, but
wrestling upside, and it was kind of playing out. But one thing I said, like
no, it wasn't because like
Davis,
he was pulling guard.
Davis's wins haven't aged well though. It's like didn't look great against Yusuf and lost. Like Burns cooked him. That's fine, whatever. And then it's like his wins are like Thomas Gifford, Mason Jones. He kind of just went to war with Borishev. Like, okay, he can take down Borishev. And then the Levy fight was kind of like, it was kind of competitive until that point. And like, I don't know. I was just like, I don't think he's as good of a grappler as people think. And I thought the grappling was going to be like a wash, which you can kind of see both guys doing it. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Like I kind of expected that type of fight. Like Davis could. I still think if Davis fought smarter, if he would have got top position and landed that elbow round 3 earlier in a round, it could have changed everything. You know. But I think Siam's better like than people think because he's a good neutralizer. Like he's kind of hard to land strikes on. He's kind of getting better at defensive grappling. You know, and he's tough and durable, which I think matters.
yeah,
So I think he's
it's
all
just
right.
did you watch round one? Like, this is totally missing the like. Davis came out pulling guard.
No, well, I'm not saying he
That
fought
was
smart, but
outland. Yeah, because like what? Davis came out pulling guard for 3 minutes. Finally tried an actual takedown. Like what? 3:30 into the fight. Instantly was on Mountain's back.
but he
And then round
attempted
two, he
some
got
other
on top
takedowns
again,
that got
sucked him
stuffed
up,
though.
took a massive cut, and then just kind of melted off the cut. Again, to me, I was just watching that, and I was just like, Davis is like that. That was like I had no Davis, but that was an all-time stunt from Davis. Like I think if Davis rocks up like on at all, that would have been like minus 500 Davis molests him. Like that was like Ziam just has this ability. Like Ziam's weird because like 3 or 4 exchanges go against Ziam in his UFC career. Like he's only ever clearly beaten Matt Frivola. It makes no sense. Like Matt Frivola is his best win by just miles.
I agree that Davis fought like an idiot in round one, but
Like that wasn't just
I
idiocy. That
still
was
would
like
favor
fifth
Zion, but Davis
percentile. That
just
was
fought normal too. Like I'm not saying I do think Davis can win the fight if he fought smarter, but like I don't think he's going to easily like he still attempted 8 total takedowns, 3 in round 2, and didn't land any of those. You know, like he only landed 1 takedown. And it's like Zion went 4 of 7 on takedowns, got 7 minutes of control. Like that's no fluke, you know. And like at range, like Ziam was like mildly outstriking him, you know, and landing some I don't know. I like Davis could fight smarter, but I don't see like any world where he's minus 500 if he fights smarter, you know.
like that was like evens, and like Davis was fighting at like fifth percentile. Like Davis like rocked up and had the absolute worst possible. Like it's like a Suarez came out pulling guard against Zhang. Like
That actually might work though.
I mean, it almost just worked for Davis. Like Davis came a lot closer to winning that fight, but he should have pulling guard.
Yeah. All right.
And also, like when it says Davis 1 of 5 takedowns, I'm pretty sure most of those were guard pull attempts.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Davis. It wasn't like Davis shot 5 times in round 1.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't win the IQ of the Year award in the fight, but I still do think it's like I think Ziam's harder to grapple than people claim.
I think
is
Ziam
it perfect?
It's just...
Is it perfect? No. Like good guys can have success against him, but like, is he like improving and like decent? And his offensive wrestling, is it underrated? Yeah, I think so. You know, like he's all right. Like a good grappler will, yeah, like have success against him. But like I do think Davis's wins are like he's still a good fighter. Like I like Davis. Like he's pretty solid, but his wins are kind of bad. Like Gifford.
They are.
Like
I agree they're bad. But
Borishev, you know.
It's more just I think Ziam is just Ziam's career is just hilarious. Like he's like one of this. He's manifesting just pure. He just gets the majority of his coin flips. It's kind of insane.
Yeah,
it just feels like he could have run it. Like if Malaki and Benjamini go slightly different, he's back on the European regionals, getting his ass kicked by Oliver Enkamp or something. It's just been insane. Like legit. Apart from Frivola, every fight has been defined by just being super duper sketchy.
All right, well, let's move on to this card. I don't
good.
think we need to talk about Ziam Davis the whole time, but let's get all right. UFC 312. We got 2 title fights. Let's just start from the top. Rematch of Du Plessis and Strickland. They fought already, and it was like as close as a fight can get. I think people like claiming it was a robbery on either side are idiots. You know, I personally thought Strickland won, but it was like it was as 50-50 as like a fight can get. You know. But it was really, really competitive. I don't like. I'm expecting another close fight. I don't understand the line. Like they've each had 1 fight since Strickland. I played Strickland against Costa. He kind of did what it was a split decision, but it shouldn't have been. That was an awful split decision. Like Strickland won clean, kind of like you would expect Strickland to beat Costa. And then Du Plessis like fought Adesanya, and he was honestly like I think I picked him in that fight, but he was losing, and it was an underdog at the time of the, you know, until he hurt Izzy and then just kind of choked him out. And it's like, I don't know. I'm expecting another striking fight where like Strickland will probably land more volume and Du Plessis will probably have to make up for it with damaging moments and maybe like a takedown or something. But I don't think Du Plessis can hold Strickland down. And then like, on the feet, I just think it's going to be really, really competitive. I Yeah, minus 210 makes zero sense to me. Like, why is one guy 68% implied when like the first fight was even? It was basically an even fight, and they both like have beaten guys since in a way you kind of think they should. Like Adesanya's slowed down. Duplessis should probably win that fight, but he still struggled. And then like Strickland just kind of beat Costa. Like I don't. Did you see the same thing? It's just going to be a competitive striking fight where they both land over 100 significant strikes. You know.
I had Strickland the first time, scored it for him. I think like DDP 60% is fine personally, just since I think he's more likely to hit takedowns, he's more likely to kind of like critical hit standing, if you get what I mean. Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
little bit wide as is. I just think, in a competitive striking fight, being the guy who's more likely to hit like, Plessis has like 90% of the takedown upside, which to me just means that, even if he hits like one takedown and it gets like one round off it, it just takes him to like 60% in my mind.
I think that's fair, but I do still favor. Yeah, like I get what you're saying, but on the feet, I do favor Strickland to land more strikes, and like specifically, Strickland outlanded him to the head 157 to 81. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
Strickland's weird because like usually the guy who lands more head strikes wins the decisions. It's like 78% of the time, but Strickland's weird because sometimes he just doesn't hit hard enough to like make them as meaningful, you know. But I do see what you're saying. Like, but I feel like the takedown stuff can be compensated by the fact that Strickland will probably be landing more. But then, you could make the same argument that Duplessis probably has more like damage upside. Like he hits harder, but again, Strickland's gonna be landing. I don't know. I think it's gonna be another like 48-47, you know?
Yeah, like I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying like Plessis is going to dominate. I just think that like Plessis power slash grappling upside just takes him to just like
Yeah.
55-60% of my mind. I
Yeah.
think it's a
I
little
mean,
bit wide
picking
now.
Duplessis is totally fair, I think.
Yeah, like if I can if Strickland gets it to plus 200, I think there's definitely an argument now. But for the moment, I'm just like I like gun to my head, I play Strickland at this price, but I'm not really any rush personally.
Well, the thing is, like Strickland has fought the same game plan in every fight ever. Like it's like
That too.
so I mean, but I don't think he like really needs to change it. Like he's just gonna do what he does, you know? Like and that
Yeah,
might
but
win. He's just gonna like pressure box and fight behind a jab, stop takedowns, and like scramble up when he does get taken down, you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
I agree that like it gives him a good floor, but also I feel like having seen how that particular approach plays out, I just think he's like, I think this is a competitive fight. I think Strickland's
Yeah.
just roughly 40% to win it because I just think,
Okay.
being the
Yeah.
guy who's going to hit takedowns and probably a bit more likely to get knockdowns in Plessis is just worth a chunk. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird because I feel like Strickland is like 55%
But the
chance
thing
to
is,
win
he's
any.
not 60%. Minus 150, 60%. Minus 210 is like 68%, you know? That's just,
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's in the neighborhood, right? Again, like I think Strickland's plus EV. I'm just not. I
Yeah.
think Strickland plus 180 is the side. I'm not in any rush personally,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah, that's
GTD
fair.
ITD is about right too.
If this gets like even stupider, like plus 220 or something, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't, I think we're just going to get, I think we're going to get another like split decision.
yeah.
Co-main event, like most anticipated fight on the card for me by like a mile. Probably my most
Well,
anticipated WMMA fight ever. Like we've talked about this so many times,
yeah.
and I I you know I think people know who I'm gonna pick here, but like I am kind of, and we'll talk about it in a second. But before you get in the matchup, Gugabe, I'll let you talk about it first. Are you kind of surprised that like Suarez is she's like the favorite on some books now? Like she opened as like a mild to moderate dog, like plus 150 even around, and now it's like she's the favorite in some. Are you surprised on the action? I kind of am because Zhang always people think she's like an Avenger or something. I think she's like good, but like I feel like she has been overlined in some fights, But
I feel like this has been
yeah,
discussed for so long. But it's just Suarez. I'm pretty sure Suarez like average price in the UFC has been like minus 500. Obviously, like
yeah,
Zhang's
yeah,
probably
that's
the
true.
same.
It's like they both get backing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel that Suarez, who molested Esparza, was probably the best women's strawweight to ever live. Like that's
Easily,
the
easily.
absolute pinnacle of the like division.
Dude, I rewatched that fight today. That was insane.
Yeah,
Like, she had zero cardio issues and like physical specimen and huge and just absolutely annihilated. And like Esparza,
it's
like
good.
think of even Esparza against Zhang. Like I know like Zhang won and stuff, but like Esparza was landing takedowns, like still having she had some moments of success where like she got annihilated. I don't
Yeah,
even think she like I don't think she landed a single takedown or got a second of control. Can't even remember a strike she landed, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was that to me is the most impressive like women's strawweight. Honestly, like in women's MMA, it might just Esparza is hard to grapple, and then Suarez just
Dude,
absolutely
listen to
destroyed her.
listen to this box score. Like, so it's not even like we're
Yeah,
exaggerating. And like look at any other Carlos Esparza fight. Significant strikes in that fight, 82-6 Esparza.
yeah,
Total strikes 136-12. And this was a 14-minute fight. It ended like 30 seconds left. 136-12 in total strikes, 9-0 on takedowns. 12 minutes and
yeah,
57 seconds of control to 4 seconds of control. Like that, and that was like Esparza was probably better back then than like when she
yeah,
fought Wei Li. And then Wei Li and Esparza, it's like 42-19 in total strikes and a minute and a half to a minute of control in like 6 minutes. Like, yeah. So yeah, go on though.
yeah. Because even like Whaley Esparza, it's just like I felt like Zhang kind of spazzed that last takedown. Like I just feel like if Zhang doesn't get that doesn't get that submission there,
Yeah,
like
it was like a crucifix. It wasn't even high level. It was kind of sloppy. It was like a
yeah,
crucifix from a Peterson. Like a
yeah,
Peterson is
like
usually like a decent position for someone to turn around, and then she gave up a rear naked choke from
yeah.
it. I've never even seen that submission in any other fight. Yeah,
Yeah, like credit to Young for finding it, but it
yeah,
just felt like this kind of very physical spaz. I just feel like if you make Young grapple for any like extended amount of time, she has cardio issues in grappling,
yeah,
and yeah, she just isn't that good a grappler. Like she's dangerous because she has like she's powerful and has strong instincts and will just jump shit. Um, but the issue with Suarez to me is like she's been off a year or year and a half. Um, and she, the Andrade fights look solid, but Andrade just never had anything off her back. And I felt the De La Rosa fight was just not a great look. Like it just felt like way sketchier than it should have been. And like again, like De La Rosa is probably a better defensive grappler than Zhang is, so it's not necessarily the end of the world. But to me, it's just the physicality and the age concern for Suarez is quite present. Um, but like like the Suarez who molested Sparza is like minus 500 here. I think Suarez is definitely the side. Again, it's a little bit annoying she's getting hit so hard,
yeah,
but like, the market's on it. I'm just like, the woman who fought DLR is like minus 150 to 200 against it for me against Young, and then the woman who fought Esparza is just like minus, like, just does what she wants.
yeah.
Um, I kind of like, what's the RTD at? That's kind of
So,
what I'm
so I
interested
was
in.
gonna say, dude, it's plus 150 or something.
Yeah,
Like, doesn't go, and I like that too, because like
yeah,
I
silver
feel
binary.
like if Suarez like wins, that's like she's never had a 5 rounder, and like
Yeah,
she's a great finisher. You know, she's won 7 fights by submission, and like if Zhang wins this, I don't think it's going to be like a pretty like decision where she's like,
yeah,
you know, like she is really aggressive, and I just feel like it would probably be Suarez like slowing down too, you know?
yeah,
So I agree with that because, like, honestly, if that was even, I would probably, like, gun to my head, I'm picking this to end ITD, you know? So
yeah.
I agree. Like, I'm not confident, but at plus 140, I think that's a good line. Um,
Yeah,
but
I agree. I just think super binary fight. Suarez pretty reliable. They're both pretty reliable to push a pace. Um, like like the only way I could see it really being comfortable GTD is if Suarez just got like kind of spooked and then just did nothing in space. But even then, like I think Zhang's not the sort of person who's just gonna sit there occasionally leg kicking her. Zhang's pretty reliable to go forward. Again, like at the current price, I probably just rather take the RTD because I think that covers most. It covers most potential sort of upside for both of them.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
like
no,
what's
yeah, I
like
agree.
Suarez sub? Suarez sub must be plus 370. Yeah, Suarez sub plus 370 solid.
I like that too.
Um,
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's enough doubt in my mind with Suarez's physical conditioning lately that I'm happy to I'm not going to wait it and be like 5 units at evens kind of a thing. I'm just concerned that like Suarez just turns out to just not be there anymore. But yeah, I think the Suarez Abid Esparza is the absolute high watermark of the division. Yeah, and so I think Suarez ran through like Grasso, Esparza, like she has some great names from that period. And I think Zhang is just kind of just not much of a grappler. There's this rate, I'm more likely he's getting up an ITD slash under slash Suarez sub.
Yeah, I have a lot of similar opinions. Like again, back in the after like the Esparza fight, I I would have maxed this line like at evens. Um, I don't think we would have got evens around that time though. I think Suarez would have been a favorite. Um, and yeah, like I'll go with I am picking Suarez here, but like I do have like more concerns than I would have back then. But to kind of point to some of my concerns is just like that Nina Nunez fight was a long time ago. And she did have like a legitimate neck injury like suffered in that fight. So I and I think yeah, like so anyway, like she had some issues like late in that fight. And we haven't seen her go 5 rounds ever since. So if this goes like 5 rounds, I am a little worried about Suarez on the back end of this fight. Like maybe she turns out fine, like because against Esparza, which was like 1 year, but less than a year before, she didn't look like she'd slow down at all. But then against Nina, I think it could have been injury related. But again, she's had a lot of injuries and stuff. She's older now, so who knows how she's going to look in an extended fight. So like, I don't know for sure. So that does make me a little nervous for her. But like, I still just think I still got to go with Suarez because I mean, dude, she's a better wrestler, like straight up. And Zhang has turned into she's a very good fighter. Like I've talked shit on her before and thought she was like overrated at times, but she's turned out to be very good and has proved me wrong in like some spots. But the one thing I've just always said about her, she makes like a lot of mistakes in some grappling situations. Like she'll step over whizzers and shit and like end up on her back. Like Rose held her down for an entire rounds when Rose realized she could out grapple her. And then like since that fight, she's fought like Joanna, who isn't going to test you grappling, Lemos not going to test you grappling, like Esparza, and like you kind of saw some of the same wrinkles of her having issues. And Esparza is nothing compared to Suarez. So if you're like having little issues with Esparza, you probably will with Suarez. And then even the Zhao Nan fight, like she even landed a few takedowns. And I also feel like Zhang is like an enthusiastic grappler herself, which could get her into trouble. Like if she's diving for takedowns, she could get choked out in transition, like with like those guillotines and stuff. And I have a feeling this is going to be a levels fight. Like that's what I ultimately think. And um, I think my main concern is just like Suarez's physic, her like I think athletically she's probably declined and isn't what she was, but I still think like this version of Suarez will still get the win. But I was a lot more confident in the fight a long time ago. But I still just think Suarez is just going to be such a better wrestler that it's going to be like a thing where Suarez is kind of winning early right away. And then I think like I don't think Zhang will like Zhang, I don't know, whenever she was getting out wrestled by Rose, she kind of like was wilting. Do you remember that? Like later in the fight, she was just kind of getting a
Yeah,
little more tired. And I just feel like Suarez could probably get that going early. And then like Zhang kind of will play guard off her back. That's not really going to tire Suarez out. Like if she was constantly working to get to her feet, maybe she could tire Suarez out. But I just think it's going to be a snowball effect. So that's what I'm going to pick. I really, really wish that I wanted to play Suarez at like plus 150, and I was kind of getting greedy because I didn't know where the market would go. And I was like, holy shit, if we get Suarez at plus 200, this is like nuts. But it got to like even, so it's just making this a little harder to decide. But yeah. Do you have any other things to add?
not really. So yeah, I think it's an interesting fight.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great fight.
Suarez just condition question mark just makes it hard to play with confidence. But like, yeah, I definitely think she's a side. And like, again, it's one of the things where like live bet if Suarez is getting a shit going or just looks okay at weigh-ins, probably I'd be down to do it. But right now, I'm okay.
Um, yeah, she she had like Zhang's grappling has improved, but I still think her defensive grappling is like it's there, but like there's issues there. But I just don't think there's enough women. Like it's not going to be an issue against 99% of girls, but against Suarez, I think it will. And yeah, and like Suarez isn't good on the feet, but she is a decent job of just like neutralizing and not engaging. Like whenever she was fighting Andrade, I think she actually outlanded Andrade for at distance, but like she's not trying to threaten you. She's more just like staying out of range, and staying safe. So I think if like she's on the feet with Zhang, of course she's not gonna like get a bunch of offense going with the striking, but I do think she can like minimize the engagements, and she kind of just stays out of range, throws her little like kicks and stuff, and then if someone comes into like range, that's when she takes you down. And Zhang, I just feel like is really aggressive and will probably run into takedowns too, And I just I don't even think Zhang's gonna realize like what some of the grappling. I think she's not even gonna realize like how much of a level there is in the technical grappling here until they start going. Like some of the like that move Suarez does where she shoots underneath and doesn't get to the legs and you get in a front headlock and then she uses her right leg to hook around the other person's leg to bring the leg into her like her grips to like then get turned into a single leg. I'll post it on Twitter. Like stuff like that she's doing all the time, and it's too much chain wrestling for I think Zhang to keep up with. So I just think early in this fight, I think Suarez is gonna land takedowns and stuff, but Zhang is a pretty dangerous submission grappler. So maybe she like subs Suarez, like kind of like that random exchange with Esparza. But I kind of have my doubts on that. I think Suarez is like a pretty legit submission grappler, or maybe just Suarez tires out eventually. But when they're fresh, like the pure wrestling exchanges, I think Suarez, I'm pretty confident that Suarez is going to be much better. But obviously Zhang has like other advantages, But I just think Suarez is just going to out wrestle her. But it's a really really interesting fight because it's kind of a guess of Suarez's form. Did you tape? I didn't really tape Tafa and Teixeira. Do you want to talk about that for a second?
Taliesin is Stefan Struve #2. He is gigantic, but doesn't really seem to have much on the inside and hasn't really been pushed much. I think Taff is like, he can't grapple, but he's kind of solid as a striker. Like his cardio is better than it looks like it should be. I think Taff will pass pretty clearly. Like obviously the size is a concern, but I think Taff is just like a bit more proven and like has UFC wins and stuff, whilst Teixeira is just huge and not really that proven. That's kind of my take. It's a fight, heavyweight strike.
Yeah. What about Crute and Bellato?
It's kind of a mirror match, but I just think like Bellato just seems to have like Crute seems to be in this weird mental state lately, and Bellato's solid. Like I think both guys are pretty decent light heavyweights. Like if Crute just fought more consistently and went to his grappling more proactively, he could still be decent. But yeah, just it's a little bit of an issue for Crute. I just feel like it's enough for a mirror match. It just feels like Bellato could just outlast him.
One of the best fights on the card, Jenkins and Santos. I'm pretty excited for that one. I think Santos is like the rightful favorite because he has some grappling upside. Like we've seen Jenkins look kind of bad off his back, and on the feet, it's probably really competitive. But Santos tends to brawl, which could get him into trouble here. But like he's pretty fucking good, Santos. Like just kind of retaping him and stuff. What do you think of that one? It's a good fight. They're both pretty good fighters.
I agree. I think like it's Santos like he pushed an armor pretty hard. Santos just seems like I think he's like a fringe top 10 kind of a guy. Like he just seems very well put together. Jenkins just I think like not to oversimplify, but like I think this is gonna be a good competitive fight. But I think Santos is just a tier better, and Jenkins has some grappling issues, and Santos is a good grappler.
There's just more path to victory for Santos.
Yeah, line just seems solid to me. What's the under at? Under 2.5 plus 150. Yeah, I mean probably fine, but if I was going to play anything, probably more likely to play RTD or Santos sub. Just because I think it's going to be like a very high paced war. But I think Santos 66-70% fine personally.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was falling too. I think Jenkins Jenkins is Australian, right? So if
Yeah.
like if it goes to the cards and there's a lot of striking involved, it could get a little sketchy. So there's like ways for, you know, Jenkins to win like a close decision or maybe hurt Santos or something. But Santos is like, he's just as good on the feet, you know? And then when you factor in the grappling, I think he's the rightful favorite there. What do you think of Nolan and Borishev?
I think Nolan's kind of a ridiculous spat. Like, yeah, like I saw people like trying to steam Nolan, but like as far as I'm concerned, this is just Marshati versus Borshev too. And like Borshev seems like he's like he has he's small and he's like kind of getting a bit old and a bit chitty. But I think he's a lot more like process driven as a striker over time. I think price is fine. What's the over under? Over under is also fine. Yeah, I just think like, for me, I just feel like Nolan's not doing much that Marshati didn't already do, but that was also a crazy war. So like, I just think it's gonna be a crazy war, and I think Warshiv probably takes over time because I think Nolan's just kind of a bit of an explosive spaz, but fun fight.
Yeah. Any other fights you want to talk about? Like, I'm not going to go too deep
Thickness,
on any of the other
thick
fights.
Tapiro is a bit of a question mark, but I know from Australian MMA that thickness is quite hyped, like internally.
Oh,
So it's
really?
surprising me how big a because like the issue of thickness is
I
apparently
haven't
he's
looked
like
into that yet.
Volkanovski's. The thickness is like Volkanovski's main training partner, but apparently his chin has been annihilated because Volkanovski just wakes up every morning and knocks him out for fun. But yeah, like having watched thickness fight regionally, he's kind of a lame. He's very good control grappling for the Australian regional. He's very well put together. There's allegedly some chin issues there, but it surprised me how big a dog he is here. But and also like since Top Hero is a bit of a question mark because like I know obviously people are looking at the surname and just betting the surname, but I don't know. For me personally, like I think the good top hero is good, but so much of it runs through his athleticism. It's just like this could easily be like a Figueiredo situation where like one of them has got athleticism and makes their game work, and the other one is just kind of a spaz. Because remember, like lesser Figueiredo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think thickness might be worth a shot, but again, like top area might just be able to shut down takedowns and knock them out. But I think thickness is a solid fighter by all accounts. And the rest of the undercard seems like there's a bunch of fun fights. There's nothing that's really grabbing me, to be honest.
Yeah. Is Bruno Brazil the Mewing
I
Gaffarov
hope
this
so.
week? are you?
Something about the Kong Wang hype train just annoys me. Like I'm not betting Brazil at this point, but I know the whole thing of Kong Wang where people are acting like she's Shevchenko or something, it just confuses me. Like I don't think she's bad, just like why is this random woman like -1,000 against everybody?
I'm about to tape that. Like I like her striking and whatnot.
Yeah,
I
she's a
just
good
have to.
striker, but
I
yeah,
remember thinking Brazil's not bad. I just have to see if it's like, but I still don't think she would win like a striking fight, you know. So
well,
I kind of just have to watch her wrestling a little bit to see if I feel like that would be the path, if anything. So I just have to look into that, you know. But I do like it was funny watching Kong lose her last fight, but she still like looked good until that point. She kind of just got club and subbed, you know.
yeah, but like Brazil's huge and like she has issues with pressure and being put on her back, but like is Kong Wang gonna do that? Like
Brazil's like not bad. Like because I remember like I played Loma against her and
yeah,
like she was winning round 3, you know, and then
yeah.
like um
Like,
I I don't know. Like I have to watch her. Like I'm like I've been taping so many fights like upcoming for like the next couple cards, you know. And on some of these, I was like, the ones I didn't think I was going to be playing anyway, you know. And I was like, I'm not going to be missing anything. Kong's just going to be a huge favorite who I wouldn't play anyway. So I just haven't taped him yet. But I remember like Brazil could kind of land takedown. I can't really remember though. Like so, I mean, all my breakdowns on my site, I'll like have everything because I'm going to tape that all tonight. So.
even like pure striking, like Bruno Brazil is massive and like she kind of kicked McCann's ass last time. Like is she 5'6"? Maybe I'm misinterpreting Bruno Brazil's size, but like from memory, she's huge. Yeah, she's at size parity with Kong Wang, and Kong Wang usually kind of relies on being inside by size. Like I think the striking could be like more competitive than people are giving credit for. And Brazil has issues, but it's generally just like Jalen Turnering. She just if you saw pressure her and put her on a butt, she has issues.
Yeah, I have to.
Um,
What's doesn't go there? The long
Like one
fights
plus
have
one
been,
under 2.5 plus 150. So ITT will be plus 110. So it's
yeah,
women's. I'm not touching that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be sneakily competitive, but is what it is.
That one spaz who I played Carlos Hernandez against. he's he's fighting again. But
Apart.
all right, like yeah, like these other fights, like I just wanted to kind of talk about like that main card, these other fights, like I'll have on my site and stuff. I'm not gonna go too deep into them, but all right, man, like we have
Yep.
fights for like 8 straight weeks. Um, I'm
Do
looking.
we have what's week off? Is week off this week? Is it after this one? Isn't it? Or
No,
no, mixed up.
no, no,
Okay,
I think
so
it's like till mid-April maybe or something.
okay, yeah, I think they were just really slow on the openers for RoboCop Cannonier. That's why I
Yeah.
thought it was off.
All right. Well,
Okay.
yeah, I'm yeah, this card's not great for a pay-per-view, but the top two fights are good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Suarez Zhang is like
Yeah.
fascinating in my opinion. So, um, all right, man. Well, like we're gonna go and yeah, we'll do the next card is let me look right now. We got they're coming to Kansas City, UFC in like April. Oh, it's the Cannonier Rodriguez card, Apex. That just sounds like the most Apex fight ever. And
Be
then
fun.
Cejudo and Song are fighting in Seattle. That the Seattle card was pretty good. I remember like Anthony Hernandez, Allen, Cejudo, Song, Steve Garcia, Barboza, Silva, Bagdasarian.
I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
looking
that's a
at the
pretty fun card.
even Cannonier Rodriguez has some decent fights in the favorite card.
Yeah,
Rodolfo versus Petrosky, Shabazi and the Budka, Bonfim versus Chaos Williams. Oh, it's good. Chaos Williams is
there's no
still
like
alive.
odds out for that card.
I
I've
know
kind
it's
because
weird.
I've taped it all already. Like I was kind of getting ahead
Yeah,
on some of these just like before the lines come out to jump on them, and
yeah,
yeah, there's like nothing out. Hill Souza will be a fun split decision. Um,
yeah. Zalal versus Qatar. I think that's fine. That's a fine fight. Like, there's a lot of decent fights here, in my opinion.
yeah.
Ismail
All right, man.
Bonfim
Well,
versus Sadikov.
oh yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, there are some good fights. Sadikov Bonfim will be a fun little banger. They both bring it,
Yeah, yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you, and we will do this next week. So thank you.
All right, catch it.
See ya.
Bye. Thanks for listening.